Okay, so I have this washing machine that I bought in 2015, I think. So it's a little over 5 years old, a little over my extended warranty that I got through Home Depot. And this is the second time that I've flooded my laundry room. And the first time was a couple years ago, only a couple years into it. And what went that time was the hot water intake valve. No, I think it was the cold water intake valve. I can tell because I labeled each of these hoses. And I noticed it I took the cover off, which was pretty easy to do. And then I turned the washing machine on and I saw water spraying from one of, this whole unit here. So it wasn't a bad hose or bad connection to a hose. Like the whole thing was just gushing out. Unfortunately, I didn't notice it until like a couple of loads, and it was running on. And I came downstairs, and unfortunately, the previous owners of this house installed carpeting in the laundry room, which is a really bad idea. You can see here I had to cut the carpet out last time it flooded because I'm waiting to redo this room, and I will not be putting down carpet again. It also didn't have one of these, I don't know what you want to call it, it's made for washing machines. You put your washing machine in it, so if there is a leak, it doesn't overflow immediately. Hopefully you notice it, and hopefully it catches enough of it. So anyway, I bought that on, I don't know, one of those parts sites. Put it in myself. Wasn't that big of a deal. Rehooked it up. Once I figured out where it was leaking, and from what I'm told, these they go bad. But the first thing I guess you're supposed to check if you have a leaking washing machine, one of these LG front loaders, is in the front here, down below. There's a little drawer. You pull that out, and you empty. There's a hose. You pull the hose out. You empty it out, and then you clean the filter. So you're supposed to do that on a regular basis. Otherwise, it'll get backed up and it'll just leak right out the front. That wasn't my case. And then you check these hoses back here. Check this big guy, which I think, yeah, this one fills the tub. I want to make sure that one's good. There's another one that's like that empties. Unfortunately, I think that's on the bottom. I didn't open that up. That was my next step, because I think you can take this whole back plate off and then poke around underneath to see if it's leaking from there. I didn't have to do that. I went straight for the water inlet valve, and that was my my bad one. Now, the problem this time around, when it leaked again, and after a few washing loads, it went over the top of that, flooded again the carpeting, leaked down to the basement, which is a royal pain in the ass, especially for a machine that is only 5 years old. It's ridiculous. This time around, I went right ahead and checked here, checked the hot water inlet valve. That was fine, and I knew that because I turned the washing machine on. The first thing I did was I turned off the hot water, so only cold water was coming out. No leak there. Then I stopped it, and then I ran a hot load, and I turned the cold water off, so it was only hot water coming in. That wasn't leaking. And then I went, there's a setting on the front here for drain and spin. I turned that on once there was enough water in there, and I watched on the top to see what was going on. I was expecting this to be leaking or down below. Wasn't the case. What it was this little hose right here. Now, it's hard to see because it's tucked in, but this hose connects to the, I guess it's the where the water is exiting your washing machine. So this hose connects down here, that empties out, right? Well, on the very top of that hose on the inside, you have this little tiny hose that connects to the tub, which is this, and then it connects to the top of the hose. So I don't know, maybe when it's spinning out a little bit of water from, that's not draining on the bottom, and it spins it out down here into the big hose, which then empties out there. The problem I had was this guy popped right off. You'll notice here that there is no little thing to keep it on tight. Like, see these? They have that little guy that keeps it nice and tight on the thing. This was just, you know, unless it popped off by itself, but I don't think so. I don't see it like way down the bottom of the washing machine. So it looked like this thing is just stuck on, you know, you just push it on, and maybe you just hope for the best, that it never wiggles itself off after, you know, hundreds of spin cycles. So I have it on there now, and then it stopped leaking because it was just flowing straight out of this down to the bottom, filling up my thing, and then flooding the floor. So that is pretty ridiculous. I don't know if they forgot to put a little clamp on it. I don't know what size it is, so I might try to get a clamp of some kind and see if I can fit it on there just to keep it tight. But, you know, I also want to be careful because I don't want to, I don't know, crack the hose or crack the tub thing. But I can imagine this would just come off in another 5 years. So it may be something I'm going to have to check. I'm also going to invest in a water alarm device that you can just stick down onto the ground in this little bin, and when it detects water, it'll make a screeching noise. There's also some high-tech ones that will work with your phone. It'll work with I think there's one that will work with Amazon devices, you know, like the Ring devices. So it's like a Ring alarm, Ring water alert alarm. And you can put that in your basement. You can put it in other places so that if it detects water, it goes off, and then you can hopefully quickly get to your washing machine to shut it off or whatever is leaking. So anyway, that's what I found. I hope that's helpful for anyone that's running into leaks with their LG washers. Checking on the Home Depot site where I bought this, there's lots of reviews of people where the thing's just leaking and flooding out their basement, flooding out the laundry room. Who knows if that's just, you know, you get 5% of the units create problems, and maybe it's not a big deal, but it sure looked like there was quite a few of them with people with various flooding issues or leaking issues. So anyway, I don't even know what this hose is, what it's called. I went to a couple of sites and, you know, pulled up one of these diagrams. This guy, and for the life of me, I can't figure out this diagram. I can't find that part. I can't find what that part connects to. It's super frustrating if you're trying to, you know, take care of this yourself. But I think a lot of this stuff you can do yourself, especially if it's the inlet valves. Those are pretty easy once you figure out which one is leaking, and then go find the part. That's a common part, and you can get that, you know, overnighted pretty quick. It's easy to plug in. Always remember to unplug your washing machine while you're tinkering around in there, especially if there's water involved inside. So anyway, that's my little video, and hopefully that helps somebody else.